Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good morning, I'm Taylor Upchurch. Today is Sunday, January 20th. The WYMT weather team is having a busy morning as severe weather alert day continues, and meteorologist Kelly McShane is here with me this half hour. Kelly, what is the latest?
Well, we've had heavier pockets of snow. Still a little bit heavier than that, but overall we are still seeing snow fall across the region. You can see that on pinpoint Doppler. Plenty of blue on the screen, and like I said, that is just those light snow showers, but it's still enough to cause some issues this morning, especially with visibility as winds are howling. But Interstate 64 overnight, that snow has started to pile up. The roads are not looking too bad. They are starting to clear up, but it's still going to be a little bit slick out there, especially if those roads aren't traveled very frequently overnight, because we could be seeing some slick spots as those temperatures fell, and they fell very fast. Even right outside our WYMT studio, just a light dusting out there on the pavement as well as the grass, so that is sticking, and the pavement is a little bit slick. I was out there a couple of hours ago. Even in Whitesburg, we're looking at snowy rooftops, snowy roads, and snowy vehicles. So once again, if you have to travel, just stay home this morning, because we are dealing with a little bit of winter weather. But those temperatures, like I said, they have been falling, and they will continue to do so. 19 here in Hazard, Jackson as well, 21 in Pikeville. We are all under that 32-degree mark. So those temperatures, like I said, those winds are rushing in from the northwest, and that is what is cooling us off so much. And those winds are making it feel like it's a little bit colder than it actually is out there. Those feels like temperatures, some locations in the single digits, so it's definitely very chilly out there. But heading throughout your 12-hour planner, that snow is going to start to taper off. We're going to see flurries throughout the day possible, but overall we are seeing the most impacts in the morning. Those roads are still going to be slick as we head into the evening hours, as we will still be seeing temperatures below that freezing mark. And Taylor, I'll have that full forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you, Kelly. Speaking of that colder weather, experts at Tim Short Chrysler in Hazard have a few tips for drivers who are looking to learn how to winterize their car before possible bad weather hits. They say before you even get behind the wheel, you should have already started your engine to let the car warm up, checked your tire pressure and tread, and adjusted your windshield wipers. It's also important to double check the condition of your headlights, taillights, and of course all fluids, including oil, wiper fluid, and coolant. But before you travel far, always make sure you first have your battery looked at.
We get calls. We have to go and help boost people off in bad weather situations. You can get stranded with your family, so your battery really needs to be maintained.
If you missed any of those tips and you have plans to travel in the rain and snow, be sure to go to our website, WYMT.com. We will have them listed for you there. And another safety tip mechanics and police recommend: keep an emergency kit in your car in case you do become stranded. That includes blankets, a flashlight, and a phone charger. And following a wave of women taking office in Congress and around the country, activists are at the nation's capital this weekend for the next stage of their movement. Here is a look at the scene from the 3rd annual Women March in D.C. Crowds of marchers held signs, many protesting the president. One group came to Washington all the way from Hawaii. Some participants say despite controversy leading up to the march, they are still determined to push forward with their platform. And one of those sister marches took place right here in eastern Kentucky. The rainy weather did not stop marchers in Pikeville. Many braved the grim weather to make their voices heard. WYMT's Mary Ann Fletcher grabbed her rain jacket and walked along with them to learn more.
Raised in a strong Union household, Gypsy Cantrell Ratliff learned many things.
My mother was not an educated woman, book-wise, but she was a very smart woman.
She says she always looked up to her father and wanted to be just like him.
He told me I could be a Democrat, but I would have to figure out something other else to do, that women didn't do that.
From that day forward, she says that conversation lit a fire in her heart to stand up for not only herself, but women all over.
It's important for women to lift other women up. If you lift one woman up, you lift all women up.
3 years ago, while women marched in Washington, D.C., she planned a march for Eastern Kentucky.
That's why that I do this, is so women can know that they do count.
Despite the rain, Saturday she and many others marched the streets of downtown Pikeville.
Women's equality really means equality for everybody.
Dave Sykes marched along with the women.
If we're not all equal, then nobody's free.
He says more men should participate in empowering events like this.
Because we live with women, and it's important that they be free so that everybody can be free. We have daughters, wives, girlfriends.
Marching for equality.
I will stand up for other people's rights.
In Pike County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
Organizers of the Women's March asked those attending to bring donations of feminine hygiene products and diapers. Those will be donated to the local homeless shelter. An advocacy group and Kentucky's Ark Encounter are at a disagreement about whether public schools should be allowed at the Ark for field trips. The Courier-Journal reports the Freedom from Religion Foundation sent letters to more than 1,000 public school districts in 5 states, stating trips to the encounter are unconstitutional. The founder of the Ark Encounter responded by offering free admission to public schools for trips. And President Trump offered a compromise to persuade House Democrats to come back to the negotiating table and fund the border wall. The partial government shutdown over the border security is now in its 30th day. Nicole Killian has the latest from Washington.
President Trump announced a new proposal to extend temporary protection to 700,000 Dreamers and those with temporary protected status as a way to jumpstart negotiations on border security with Democrats.
This extension will give them access to work permits, Social Security numbers, and protection from deportation.
He's making the offer to try to end the 29-day-old partial government shutdown. In exchange, the president wants $5.7 billion to fund a wall on the southern border.
As a candidate for president, I promised I would fix this crisis, and I intend to keep that promise one way or the other.
Democrats have their own plan to add more money to spending bills up for votes on border security next week, but it does not include funding for a border wall.
I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall. I'm not for a wall.
In a statement, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the president's proposal a compilation of several previously rejected initiatives, and taken together, they are a non-starter. Democrats are pressing the president to reopen the government before negotiations resume.
This is a shutdown that's the longest in history. It's the dumbest in history. And it may well be the most damaging in history.
Thousands of federal workers are caught in the middle of the border security fight. If a deal is not reached by early next week, they'll miss a second paycheck. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he'll hold a vote on the president's bold plan in the coming days. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, economists are trying to determine how the government shutdown will impact the economy.
Well, you can expect hazardous road conditions today as we deal with snow and falling temperatures. I'll break down the details coming up next.